Hello, everybody. My name is Joseph Baca, and today I will be giving you a short lecture from Chapter 24 of the Western Music History book that we are using in 302. Today we will be talking from Chapter 24, which is entitled Revolution and Change. Now, this is an important chapter of our book, and it's an important moment in our history because it brought us so many different ideas and new concept of how we want to live. You know, revolution is a huge thing, and there's a lot of revolution happening in America currently, which is really cool to learn about revolution while experiencing it as well. So to start off with, we are going to start off with the revolution, the French Revolution, which happened from 1789 to 1815. Now, the French Revolution was a crazy experience. You know, there's many stories that were told about it. A lot of different concepts that have come out in the past 100 years here in America to depict it. Like Les Mis is awesome. I love it, and it's a really cool experience to see it in action. Except there's probably wasn't as much singing dialogue as there was in Les Mis. But anyway, so 1789 to 1815. Now, the French Revolution, it was inspired by the Enlightenment ideas of equality, human rights, and social reform. Now, these people, they enjoyed their time in the Enlightenment, but all the aspects of the Enlightenment didn't pertain to them so much, and they really wanted the equality that everybody else was getting when it came to housing and social justice and music, of course. And it was a really good time to fight for what you believed in, and it's a really cool experience. Now, the best part about the French Revolution, we got to know a little bit about Beethoven, a lot about Beethoven. Beethoven was an awesome and great part of the French Revolution. Him and this chapter go so well together because he was just a big icon that was happening at that time, and he really proved to the world who he was and everything that he stood for during this time. So Beethoven was born in 1770 and he died in 1827. Now, Beethoven is a famous composer who wrote symphonies, concertos, string quartets, piano sonatas, and everything you could ever imagine. And he's truly an icon. If I'm speaking personally, yeah, he's fantastic. He's I don't know. I can only listen to a couple symphonies at a time from Beethoven before I start thinking of who he was as a person. But he seems like a great guy. He seems like a real cool brother. So one cool thing about Beethoven is he took lessons from Haydn. Now Haydn, Beethoven and Haydn, and it's just a nice glue that works together well. You could tell. I've seen a lot of pictures on the internet and whatnot depicting Beethoven as a young boy taking lessons from Haydn, and it's a really cool concept to think about happening in real life because just two minds in one room together working together is a cool thing to think about. So one devastating thing that happened to Beethoven in 1802 was the fact that his hearing loss went so down that he couldn't often hear basic melodies anymore, which is the worst thing that could ever happen to any musician ever. And he still started composing. You know, he'd feel his music through the rehearsals, and the man was just a wizard who really deserved so much more than what he got. I mean, I couldn't imagine losing my hearing at this time, and it's a really, really sad thing to think about. And but anyway, some examples from Beethoven is the Pathetic Sonata, which is a huge deal. We had a listening exam on it, and it's a very, very beautiful piece that depicts sorrow and loss and tragic, and it's based off that sadness and tragic loss, built on a moment of expression throughout the piece. And it's a really cool thing to listen to. You should definitely listen to it. And it's number 6. I remember that because of our test. The coolest thing that my favorite Beethoven symphony is Symphony Number 3, the Eroica. Now, I love Eroica. It's one of my favorite things to listen to, and it's become so cool as I'm writing my paper on Mahler's second. Just the comparisons that come through. Yeah, I mean, Beethoven really put E flat on the market, put it on the map, and it's thriving. It really is thriving. I was talking to Dr. Taylor, and she mentioned that the last movement of Mahler's second was an E flat, and she's like, oh yeah, it's in Mahler's second, Titan comes back and he rises from the dead in E flat, and there's some kind of heroic feeling from that, and I was like, whoa, Beethoven, Mahler, and it's a cool experience to think about. So E flat, put it on the market, heroic greatness, hero key of E flat. If I write anything that's very happy, I'm gonna write it in E flat. So next up, the book goes into a little bit of Beethoven centrality. Now, this is a really cool concept. Basically, when Beethoven died, or as he was preparing to die, the people of the world really started to recognize him as a cultural hero, and this helped him find his independence, helped the people find their independence, and essentially he wrote the soundtrack to the French Revolution and had an awesome time doing it. And so just to recap, we went over chapter 24, we went over the French Revolution, Beethoven, and all that inhabit him. We went over the Eroica Symphony, and the Beethoven centrality. And thank you very much.